You know, in the tech world, secrets are hard to keep. But a huge new leak just ripped the curtain back on what might be Apple's craziest product yet, the iPhone Fold. And look, the details we're seeing aren't just about specs. They point to a total reinvention of what a smartphone even is. So let's get into it and analyze what this leak actually means, from the mind-blowing hardware to the shockwaves it's about to send through the whole industry. The source of the leak uses this exact line: "It's magic." Now, that is a bold, bold claim. It tells you Apple isn't trying to sell this as just another phone. No, they are going for that wow factor, the kind we really haven't seen in a long time. So let's push past the hype and break down the real engineering that could actually make that magic happen. All right, so here's how we're going to break this whole thing down. First, we'll get into the breakthrough hardware that even makes this device possible. Then, we're going to look at what it's like to actually use it, all powered by a brand new chip and software. After that, we'll talk about the massive market impact. And finally, we got to talk about the price and how Apple is planning to justify it. Let's start with the physical device itself, the thing you'd actually hold in your hand. The engineering here, well, it really seems to be a complete reinvention of the whole foldable idea, focusing on fixing the big problems that other companies have struggled with. Okay, first up is probably the most futuristic claim in this entire leak: a self-healing display. Yeah, you heard that right. The material supposedly has a special polymer layer that can just gradually fix minor scratches and scuffs all by itself. Now, if you've ever seen the fragile screens on the first few foldable phones, you know this is an absolute game changer. It takes on the #1 fear people have about these things: durability. And then there's the hinge. The hinge is everything. It's the mechanical heart of a foldable phone, but it's always been a weak point. It's bulky, it's fragile, and it creates that awful screen crease. Well, this leak claims Apple has perfected it. That sounds like they've engineered something that's not only super strong, but also basically invisible when you're using the phone. And just to give you an idea of what we're talking about here, the leak says the entire hinge mechanism is thinner than a credit card. I mean, just think about that for a second. That's how you build a device that feels like a solid, premium iPhone when it's closed, not some clunky experiment. This isn't just about being thin. It's about getting rid of all the compromises that have held this category back. And all of this tech is wrapped in a new titanium alloy frame. Now, choosing titanium is a really big deal. It gives you the incredible strength you need to protect all those complex parts inside, but it's also exceptionally lightweight. This directly solves that common complaint that other foldables are just too heavy. And of course, it gives it that classic premium Apple look and feel. So, okay, the hardware sounds amazing, but how does it actually feel to use it? This is where we get into the user experience, which Apple is apparently building around two big ideas: insane power and that famous Apple simplicity. At the very heart of this thing is the next-gen A20 Bionic chip. Powering a normal screen is one thing, but running apps smoothly across a giant screen that can literally fold in half, that takes a whole new level of performance. This chip is supposedly designed to do exactly that. And to put that power into perspective, the leak says it handles 8K video editing like a total beast. See, this isn't just about making your apps open quickly. We're talking about pro-level performance in your pocket, letting you do things that, until now, you could only do on a powerful laptop. And all that power is being controlled by something the leak calls iOS 30. Just that version number alone is a huge tell. A jump that big? That signals this isn't just another update. It's a fundamental redesign of iOS, built from the ground up for a screen that folds. And the main focus of this new iOS seems to be cracking the code on mobile multitasking. I mean, let's be honest, multitasking on a phone has always felt a little clumsy. This leak suggests a new interface where running two apps side by side, dragging stuff between them, and resizing windows is as simple and intuitive as it is on a Mac. If they actually pull this off, it totally transforms the device from just a big phone into a real productivity machine. So, what does a device like this mean for everybody else? It doesn't just launch into a bubble. An iPhone Fold is set to completely shake up the entire smartphone market. This really gets to the core of the fight between Apple and Samsung. Samsung has been the pioneer here. They built the market, they got the early sales, but they also took all the arrows from early users. But Apple is playing its classic strategy: wait, watch, learn, and then enter the market not first, but with a product they believe is basically perfected. They want to be the game changer, not the trailblazer. The leak has 2026 pegged as the year this all goes down. If that's true, that date is going to be remembered as the moment the foldable era really, truly went mainstream. And you can bet that every other company will be forced to react, probably speeding up their own research to try and match things like a self-healing screen and that crazy thin hinge. But of course, none of this innovation is gonna be cheap. The source confirms the iPhone Fold will have a seriously premium price tag. So, how is Apple gonna convince people that it's worth it?
Well, the core of their pitch seems to be this two-in-one idea. Apple isn't just selling you a folding phone, they're selling you an iPhone and an iPad all in one seamless device. When you start to think about it as replacing two separate expensive gadgets, that premium price starts to make a lot more sense, at least for some people.
I love this quote from the source. The revolution is unfolding. It just perfectly captures what's at stake here. I mean, if even half of these leaks turn out to be true, this isn't just a new iPhone. It's an attempt to create a whole new category of personal computing, one that blends the portability of a phone with the power of a tablet. And that really brings us to the big question, doesn't it? After looking at all these claims, a durable, self-healing screen, a perfect hinge, and true multitasking, is this enough to make you switch? Is this the device that finally gets you to leave the classic smartphone design behind? And that wraps up our expert analysis of this massive iPhone Fold leak. Just so you know, all the information we talked about today is based on the initial report from the tech publication CollabGenerate. If you want to keep up with this story, we definitely recommend following their coverage as it continues to unfold.